use his intelligence, his innate intelligence, to guide him towards survival mechanisms to maintain his very unique, what is known as allele within the DNA strain, within the phylogenetic history of our humanity. So he has grown a bigger head in order to do more with what is artificial so that he can make this artificial plane his own spiritual reality. So everything that you're looking at in his technology is a kind of, quote, virtual reality mechanism, a virtual reality hologram, wherein he may feel comfortable about participating vicariously in a spiritual experience. But the melanated man, the deeply and richly melanated man, has that dark matter intelligence, the dark matter and dark energy interface with the cosmos. Through the European zone technology, they are now finding DNA, what they call unprocessed or unqualified DNA in outer space, unqualified melanin in outer space that has an organic property. And this was found by the Italian scientists back in the mid-1990s. And they began to identify this free-floating, unqualified DNA/melanin as cosmids, plasmids, and fullerenes. These are the new template definitions for melanin and dark matter that is organic in nature and therefore intelligent in nature. So he knows basically what we represent because once he surrenders to our spirituality, he ceases to exist. But he must have us conform to his version of quote-unquote spirituality or the spiritual experience by taking technology and using it to enhance what essentially is a temporal machine, what we call the human body, and to give that temporal machine access to planes that our ancestors can actually penetrate through music, through our DNA, through the drum, through the way we chant, our dancing, everything. It gives us our access. So we can actually participate with communication to Sirius and these other planets just by simply going into meditation. A lot of our ancestors have done that. They've meditated themselves to death, essentially, and not come back. They just went and stayed where they actually went.
Wow. Wow. Now, you said some interesting things that kind of tinge on the European creating a paradigm that we're kind of trapped in. And I want to speak in terms of also solutions, because when you look at that, they have this paradigm, and if you really just watch television, they kind of have us trapped in a way of thinking and a mode of thinking. And I'm very much aware of that, and I look for all the different traps. One of the big things about me is I don't like to watch a lot of television. I don't like to listen to too much of their radio because those two seem to me to be two of their primary tools that they use to control our thinking. They keep us in a mode of thinking that I think that limits us tremendously. I also believe that the food has something to do with it too as well. But I would like your thoughts on that as far as, how do we free ourselves from this prison, this mental prison that they have us in? What is the first steps? What would you suggest in the first steps to do that?
Well, we teach the ways of disengagement in our school, the University of Communication Sciences. The first step is to learn metaphysical psychology, and that is to understand the principles of cause and how to define it by studying the effects. We essentially deal with solutions first by studying the level to which the language we speak have created bricks, perceptual bricks, in a wall that we live behind, and how we are motivated by the tenor of the times, by the so-called education system, the indoctrinational systems, which is the foundation to how we will think about any and everything that we encounter in this paradigm, and to reconstruct paradigm, because Paradigm actually is created, or they say is created, by how science structures its own perception of reality, which then dovetails or trickles down to the social context around which people then begin to structure their own reality. But paradigm thinking is based on scientific thinking. So at our school, we teach scientific thinking by understanding and understanding what science has already done to the thought process of the mass mind. And then to understand and understand how the chains of our behavior are connected to the keys in the words that we speak, and how we can unlock those chains based upon understanding how words have been used to lock us down. So the first thing to do is to examine the contents of thought, because the thoughts essentially give us our subconscious reaction to reality, as well as our conscious motivations towards supporting and enhancing that reality. Once we understand how the chains of words, how the thought process is nothing more than a container, that thought is a container. It is not who we really are. It's who we've been conditioned to be. And once you understand that thought is an impediment to intelligence, then you understand that thought is being managed, it's being controlled, it's being manipulated, it's being coerced by those who understand that if they can get enough of their garbage downloaded into the thought containment unit that the child has, then that child becomes a very good consumer drone, not only of the goods and services that they give, but the very context for religious thought and spirituality that we now share as Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. So when we begin to redefine how our words have us locked down, when we begin to understand the science that was created, and again, science is the paradigm structure. The science that they deal with every day is physics, especially now quantum physics, which is nothing more than them talking about metaphysics. They now are creating and structuring the reality for tomorrow, which is the transhumanism. That's the new paradigm that they're structuring, that you don't need to do any more spiritual enhancement of your blood, reconvincing your blood cells that you are something different so that you can encompass higher forms of spiritual and cosmic awareness. But we will help you to do that. Now just imagine, they will tell you through the technologies that you put on your body, that you put on your brain, that you upload inside of your bloodstream, that they will help you to have a stronger body, a quicker mind, and a more advanced form of spirituality. But who controls that technology? They do. Because anything you artificially put on yourself or you utilize is being controlled by someone else. They don't want you to have to control the original technology, which is your mind and your body and your soul. That now can no longer be developed, which is why they've dumbed down the so-called education system so that you become more and more dependent to their new reality and the new paradigm that they're structuring for us.
Wow, I mean, I love how you express yourself and you put this relationship between conscious and the unconscious. I'm very much a student of that. And this is something that needs to be taught to us at a very early age. So in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word is God is essentially, I guess, what we're talking about here is that this principle of mentalism and vibratory frequencies is the causation that gives the effect that has us trapped in this, this paradigm. And they are now artificially creating this through their science, and if I'm interpreting this correctly, and thus keeping us trapped in a certain way. In the original technology, the mind is what we should be studying. And this, because I'm going to tell you this. I was, when I started studying law on this show, we do the UCC stuff and the, secure party and, exemptions and all that stuff, public-private, straw man, all that there. And we have a lot of discussion on that. But in my studies of that, I did some real deep study on that. I started, it kind of started going down some pathways into natural law. Because I started looking for ways, okay, these people seem to be doing whatever they want to do, but I know that they can't do whatever they want to do. So what is it that will prevent them from doing whatever it is they want to do? And it would have to be some type of law that is immutable. And that would necessarily have to derive out of cosmic and natural laws. And so that's when I began to study that, and I began to see, even in the maxims of law in the back of a Black's Law dictionary, they all seem to be some sort of derivative from the laws of nature. Even in criminal law, they'll say mens rea, meaning that, the mind is guilty. For you to be guilty, your mind has to be guilty. And that kind of goes into the law of mentalism and cause and effect. They'll say, okay, we can, we know that you're guilty because we just cross-examined your subconscious mind and found evidence that you did whatever, X, Y, and Z. So I started looking at that and I said, you know what? This is where we need to be at. We need to be studying these laws, the cosmic and natural laws. And if you could speak on that for just a second, I'd be very interested in hearing your thoughts on that.
Well, just to be more specific, the axiom goes, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. So what you're saying is what you're dealing with was the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, or the Father, the Mother, and the Son. That you were dealing with the tripartite aspect of God. The Word was, and the Word is. So what you're dealing with is past, present, future, the creation of space and time within those words, within those the very makeup of those words. And when they say that the Word was with God, it means that the entity essentially that creates has within it the Word that the original Word created. So it means that you, the creation, is as being an aspect of the Word, you are God. So when they say the Word was with God, there could be nothing outside of God. And if they could say Word is with God, it means anything created is still God. So what they're saying through these words of axiom and law, as far as natural law is concerned, once you are dealing from natural law, you don't have to go to Black's Law Dictionary. You just use it in order as a ways of letting them know what their limitations towards you are. That's where you speak from natural law. You speak from a place of supreme law, ineffable law, immutable law. And therefore, whatever it is that they create is based upon a concept or perception of the Word that they themselves have formulated. But again, if it does not match with common law or with natural law, then it is if you are a secured party as well as one quote-unquote sovereign or dissociated from the artificial paradigm that's structured around that, then they cannot even approach you because an artificial thing cannot speak to a living entity, a breathing entity. The ens legis has no power but what is given to it. And if you want to give the robot human qualities, that's your business, you see. But as far as, you being able to address who you are and state for the record that anything that court, which is an artificial construct, has to do with you, I don't even have to be in that arena. In fact, I am there by special appearance, and the only thing I need to do is send a piece of paperwork in. And if you know it for your own better survival, then, and if you don't want to be found in violation, as well as to dishonor yourself, you have to follow those laws as I dictate them, because I am the lawgiver based on who I am. The fact that I am the Word as dictated as being with God and with the Word of God. I am the dictator of that law, and I am its, not his or her, I am its voice.
But that would necessarily, what I infer from that is that you have to be in control of yourself. I mean, you just couldn't arbitrarily and capriciously just walk off the street and start doing this. You have to be.
No, you have to be in control of what they created for you. In other words, by your acceptance, by your mother's acceptance and signature